I am Mary Baxter, and I'm one of the painters. Oh yes, the title was fun to come up with. It was Mary Baxter, Random Moments from South County, because they just do feel like random moments in random places. So I was born in Lubbock, and probably unfortunate to get out of there at an early age, and grown up in San Antonio. And then my father used to take the kids on a yearly camping trip to Big Bend. And I remember even as not much more than a toddler, I just remember it feeling right. Something felt right about the smells and the sounds of the desert that just kind of clicked to me as a kid. And anyway, I grew up in San Antonio, and we were lucky enough to have horses. And so that set me on a path of horse jobs when I was older. And I ended up in the Big Bend with my then partner on a cattle ranch lease. So we got a grass lease to run cattle, and that's how I was reintroduced to the Big Bend area. I was in Marathon, and I had a studio, and J.P. Bryan, who owns the Gage, told me that a man was coming who was very influential in the art world, and that was William Reeves. And he came, and I'll never forget, he knocked on my door, and it was 100 degrees outside, and he was wearing a suit. And that is unusual in Marathon, Texas. So I was really pleased to meet him. He couldn't have been nicer. And he invited me to show with his gallery as a guest, and then later as one of his artists. And then I was able to stay with the gallery when Foltz took it over. So I had not been down to the Big Bend National Park area for probably sort of since the pandemic, or I had once or twice, and it had gotten a little bit difficult because it was suddenly popular. And so things were expensive in Terlingua, relatively speaking, and campsites were harder to come by. And so I'd kind of almost given up on the area for a time, and then I ran into a friend of mine in Marfa who has rental places in Terlingua, and it opened it back up to me. We traded off our houses, and I was able to work in the park again, and it was wonderful to be back. So that's where all of these paintings came about. A lot of these paintings I was pretty pleased with. It felt like maybe I hit a different place. I do try to go rather fast to avoid detail or overworking. And I think I made some epiphanies with this show. The thing about this show, Laura, is that I was able to go back to real original oils. So for at least 10 or 12 years, I had been using water-soluble oils, which are oils. But I went back to a different brand. And I talked to Bob Stoothwaite about it a lot. A lot of artists are trying to figure out how to use the oils without the toxicity. So it's kind of a new thing. And so it took me a little while to figure out how to do it. And I was pleased that I was able to do the large ones with my original paints. So that was fun too. So maybe that's where some of that punchy color comes back into it. The desert itself is like that. It's so muted, and sometimes it almost feels in the middle of the day, it's almost without color. But like when the ocotillos bloom, and there's this unbelievable crimson red, and you think, how is this possible to have this color in this parched landscape? So it's funny, I feel like I like to do my studies in the morning, and the studies help me later to do the larger paintings. So I think they're necessary. But then in the afternoon, I like to put the paints down and just really wait for the wow moments with my sketchbook. And that's my favorite time of day, because I feel like I've done my work in the morning, and then in the afternoon I get to just wait until they hit me. And I love that. You know, there's a limited amount of hours where it's not 110 degrees or 20 degrees, and the light has to be just right. But boy, when the light happens, it's amazing.